Hi, I'm Michael Ian Black. It is time for a new episode of my podcast, Have I Got News for Your Ears? In this week's episode, we're covering everything. Iran, airports, Elvis. We're answering the question, could Elvis beat up Trump, or would Trump have the better of Elvis? And what is Trump's take on Bruce Lee? All of this and more on a tantalizing new episode of Have I Got News for Your Ears. It's Have I Got News for Your Ears, the podcast extension of the Have I Got News for You cinematic universe. I'm your host, Michael Ian Black, joined as always by one sweetie, Jodi Lennon, and
Hi.
two sweetie, Jim Biederman. Hi, guys.
Hi, wow, that's so nice of you.
Well, I told you I'm in a good mood today.
Do you have spring fever?
No, I mean, it's we're in New York, and it was, I want to say it was 28 degrees when I walked out of my house this morning.
In Connecticut.
In Connecticut.
It's
so
39 right now.
Yeah, so I no, it is not. Spring has yet to spring.
But sometimes it's an attitude.
It's not my attitude.
It's not even officially spring.
I think it is.
It is.
I think
Friday
March or
yeah, I think it's
Friday was the solstice.
Yes, and that's top of mind for anybody paying attention to the news. The spring solstice.
in a normal news cycle, you're absolutely correct.
Well, I mean, what is a normal news cycle? I feel like we haven't had one of those in
10 years.
Let's try to figure it out.
No,
When
we
was-
had 4 years.
4-year break.
where Biden was basically running the country the way normal people run the country.
Yeah.
But then the 4 years preceding that, and by the way, when Biden was doing that, we still had to deal with this asshole every 2 seconds,
Even
flapping his gums.
The first season of Have I Got News for You was a lighter news cycle, but it was still it was about the race.
The storm clouds were brewing.
Yeah, they were.
Ugh. But at least things have settled down.
Yeah,
Finally.
Exactly.
That's why I'm in a good mood, because I knew I was going to come in here today and we were going to talk about how things have just finally settled down.
Well, here's a good story to start that out.
Okay.
Now, President Trump over the weekend issuing a new warning to the Iranian regime. He said on Truth Social, quote, if Iran doesn't fully open without threat the Strait of Hormuz within 48 hours from this exact point in time, the United States of America will hit and obliterate their various power plants, starting with the biggest one first. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
I like the fact that he goes he reads that last part.
You don't
like
need to
we're
do
all
that.
reading it still.
Yeah,
like,
you really don't
thank
need
you
to do
to as if that's now the official.
Yeah.
I get so irritated. Last week on the show, I don't even know if it made the cut, but I get irritated when people start uncritically saying things like Department of War or Gulf of America or any of that. No. Or Trump Kennedy Center. No, that's not what these things are called. And so thank you for your attention to this matter. Sort of rubs me this
It's
the same
overstayed
way.
its welcome.
Yes, but
Hold that thought.
all this got resolved, right? He didn't bomb anything.
Well-
the strait is open, and nothing got bombed. And apparently he's now controlling it with the Ayatollah, which I thought was a really nice gesture on his
He
part.
is there. We're, I guess, what would you call it? Co-parenting?
Yes,
The Strait of
Co-parenting the
Hormuz.
strait.
But are we supposed to also take seriously that he gives information out on Truth Social? There's thank you for that matter. And then there's also
Thank you for your attention
Thank
to
you
this
for your
matter.
attention to this matter. And then there's also that Truth Social is the place where we're supposed to take this information
Yes.
to be
It's so
meaningful.
that he can make money off of it.
Although have you seen the financials for?
Oh, it's terrible. Trump media.
Oh, tell me.
They lose.
Yeah.
They lose so much money. They have almost
like
no
hundreds of
revenue.
millions of dollars.
Hundreds of millions of dollars every year. They have no revenue.
No.
But it's a money laundering thing.
It's-
Just like, by the way, just like this war is. Because what everybody's speculating about, and what I think must be true, because it coincides with everything we know about this person, is that he says one thing, waits for the markets to tank, trades on it, and then the markets open and he says something else.
Yeah. To get them to go up.
Yeah, there was a $1.5 billion bet placed on Polymarket.
Yeah.
A single $1.5 billion bet on whether or not the U.S. would actually follow through on this. Somebody's making a shitload of money.
But
And it's-
Polymarket doesn't pay out if there's death involved, right?
Well, that was a whole controversy.
Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah.
This is our ambassador to somewhere.
Yeah, sure.
This guy's a dick.
The administration hasn't convinced, we've seen it in our polling, the majority of Americans that this war was necessary. 66% of Americans believe conflict with Iran is a war of choice. 60% disapprove of the U.S. taking military action against Iran.
What do you think his response is going to be?
His response
Let's
are
do
going to
a
be
poly market bet on this.
something about the polls are fake, or the polls are fake. I'm going to go with the polls are fake.
I'm going to go with Democrats are the problem.
You're both kind of right.
Okay.
57% of Americans think the conflict is going very or somewhat badly. How do you tell the American people they're wrong?
Well, I could quote a whole slew of polls that show, for example, self-described MAGA Republicans give the president a 100% approval
His base
rating.
is in there.
A majority
Absolutely.
say the number one job of the commander-in-chief is to keep Americans safe.
Yes,
Yeah, that's
and by
true.
that
That's true.
metric,
That's true.
he has
Correct.
he is failing.
Correct.
In every respect.
So it's the word salad again.
But I mean,
Right.
but that's a very specific metric
Yeah.
that we can look at and
Yeah.
we can say, Americans, do you feel more safe or less safe
They feel
now?
less safe.
I would think. I mean, not the 100% of MAGA.
I mean,
I don't know. They'd probably say, I completely agree with what he's doing. I mean, no, I don't feel safe.
there are ways we don't feel safe too, right? There's like we have no medical support. Our insurance is fucking expensive. Financially, we're all completely fucked. There are wars in multiple countries.
Look, you can
Well,
have your
Jodi,
you can have
There
your,
are no
your
jobs.
catalog of lists of bullshit. Okay,
Catalog of lists.
you can have your list of catalogs.
Okay, but the airports are running smoothly. So
If I can point here to an NBC poll, 90% of Republicans, broader Republicans, support Trump's effort to destroy Iran's nuclear capabilities.
that's
Of
not
which
the
they have none.
of which they have none. And by the way, that is not the question. Whether or not you support nuclear destroying Iran's nuclear capabilities, you could probably get some Democrats to say, most Democrats, I think,
Right.
would say, yes, we don't want Iran having nuclear weapons.
Correct.
But Iran didn't have nuclear weapons.
Correct.
And 8 months ago, apparently, we obliterated their ability to produce them.
Yep.
So he's cherry picking both MAGA,
Yeah.
Right.
and of course they're going to support him, and he's cherry picking sort of broader Republicans for a much more narrow question.
Right.
So he's not addressing this at all.
Also, do we think?
And who is he?
Waltz. He's the ambassador to, I think, the UN. So they brought out they pulled out all the stops. Is that the expression?
Yeah, they brought Mr. Personality.
Yeah, Mr. Personality, Scott Bessent, who, well,
His husband must be so proud.
Who is his
so
husband? who is that guy?
I don't know, a tramp, some tramp.
Some tramp. I want him. I
I
want
think
his
he's-
husband to be like 23 years old and like Ecuadorian.
No. They're very like same age.
Yeah, that's what it is. Another patrician.
Yes.
When you think of like guys like Scott Bessent, you think of them as like so waspy
Yeah.
and proper
Yeah.
and conservative.
Yeah.
And then they somehow have to incorporate this incredible part of their personality
Yeah.
into that.
Yeah, that
and it
so many
creates all
fought
this
for.
cognitive dissonance.
Yeah. I don't know what Lawrence O'Donnell or someone the other night said. Scott Bessent's a guy who, for most of his adult life, it was against the law, military code,
Yeah.
for him to join the army.
Right. And there were,
And he's defending.
Yeah.
He defends this entire structure.
yeah, many before him fought for freedoms and rights
And guys like that would have fought against.
yeah.
Because what's more important to guys like, first of all, when you're patrician, what that generally implies is that you come from a certain amount of means and you have a certain amount of gravitas in the culture, either because of how you were raised or who your family is or whatever.
Big Daddy.
And so you are insulated from the problems of people,
Of everyone else.
Of everyone who are like just trying to get off in the rambles in Central Park in the 70s or, what? Oh, Jim's laughing because that's what he used to do.
We never called it the Rambles.
And so what's more important to these guys is the community in which they have based their entire lives. And that's understandable. That's true for most people.
Yeah, why would it not?
But like behind their backs,
No pun intended.
I wasn't intending a pun
Okay.
and wasn't even thinking of a pun. And I
Wow.
really dislike that you went there, Jim. But behind their buttholes, what's happening is these same guys that they're trying to embrace are mocking them, making fun of them, and have no respect for them.
Well,
Be-
then you'll
because
love,
of
then
their
you'll
sexuality.
love this clip.
Oh, I already love it.
Just to put a fine point on this, though, is the president in the process of winding down this war or escalating the conflict?
Again, they're not mutually exclusive. Sometimes you have to escalate to de-escalate, Chris.
Okay.
You get it?
I don't.
No, it doesn't make sense. That's why.
What I like about it is it feels like an after-school special
I
slogan.
have to beat you so I can stop beating you.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, you won't appreciate not being whipped anymore.
So Trump comes out and says, we're going to put a pause on all this because we're gonna.
This is my favorite story of the week so far. This is hilarious.
They give him. We're going to give him 5 days or something, and because we've had
constructive negotiations.
I believe he said really strong conversations, and whenever he uses the word strong, you know he's lying.
When he uses any word.
No, sometimes he's telling the truth. Like I have to poop. That's probably true.
It's like that. Remember in Dr. Dolittle, that fantastic movie?
You know what? I don't remember a single frame of it.
I also didn't see.
I saw
Eddie Murphy's Dr. Dolittle.
No, the original I'm talking about. There was an animal.
No, I didn't see that either.
There was an animal. It had a head in the front and a head in the back.
push
and it
me,
was
pull
called
me.
a push me, pull me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We got a little push me, pull me here. Also, everybody rewatch Dr. Dolittle. It's so fun. It's a nice escape.
Rex Harrison. He then comes out and says, well, I'll just let him.
He says, I'm pleased to report the United States of America and the country of Iran have had over the last 2 days very good and productive conversations regarding a complete and total resolution of our hostilities in the Middle East. And he went on there talking more in detail about saying, based on the tenor and tone of these in-depth, detailed, constructive conversations, which will continue through the week, I've instructed the Department of War to postpone any and all military strikes against Iranian power plants and energy infrastructure for a 5-day period subject to the success of the ongoing meetings and discussions.
We wake up yesterday, Monday, today's Tuesday.
$1.5 billion richer.
As one does. And he comes out on the tarmac, and there's we've got some great tarmac clips, because those are my favorite clips.
I love tarmac talk.
They're really great. He's in his element.
Yeah.
5 days. We're going to put everything on 5 days, because we're having amazing talks. Amazing
5
talks.
days isn't long.
See, this is what I said. You came in, everything's been settled. It's great.
So
Uh-oh.
in comes Maria Bartiromo.
I've got something I got to say, Jim.
She's going to piss on everyone's parade. Here she is with
James Comer.
James Comer, or that kid in high school that you always hated.
That's
him.
every kid in high school.
All right,
I hated every kid in high school.
Here we go. Here we go.
Because you know why?
Why?
I hated myself.
You got to let people in sometimes,
I know.
Michael.
I know.
No, don't say that to him.
Iran State TV is reporting. I don't know if we can believe Iran State TV, but Iran State TV says that Trump capitulated. There are no direct or indirect talks taking place with the Trump regime. This is from a spokesperson for the IRGC, and it is being run on Iran State TV, with the Foreign Ministry of Iran claiming that President Trump's remarks on day 5, a halt to strike on Iranian energy infrastructure, is a ploy to buy time for military preparations.
It's propaganda, certainly. On the other hand, it sounds a lot more realistic than anything.
Yeah, who do you believe?
I believe them.
Yeah, I do too. I don't like being in a position where I trust Iranian state television more than I trust my president. I really don't like being in that
You don't
position.
like the Walter Cronkite of Iran?
I don't.
So now, as promised, we got to some tarmac stuff.
I love tarmac talk.
So we're just going to let you know what it's. Who is it for us to say whether he's telling the truth in a Truth Social, even though you would think it would be because it's called Truth Social, or the Iran news agency? Why don't we hear from the horse's mouth?
Yeah, let's hear from him directly.
Iran's foreign ministry says you're not telling the truth when it comes to productive conversations to end the war.
Well, they're going to have to get themselves better public relations people. We have had very, very strong talks. We'll see where they lead. We have major points of agreement. I would say almost all points of agreement. Perhaps that hasn't been conveyed. The communication, as you know, has been blown to pieces. They're unable to talk to each other. but we've had very strong talks. Mr. Witkoff and Mr. Kushner had them. They went, I would say, perfectly.
They went perfectly.
Now, there's a thing in the Orthodox community.
Okay, we're
The Orthodox
listening.
Jewish community?
Okay. Sorry,
Of which
Greek,
Kushner is a part.
He is, and I believe Witkoff may not, he's not Orthodox, but I think, kind of
Where
modern.
are you going with this, Jim?
Well, a lot of my friends are Orthodox. They refer to each other as, like, I would say, Mr. Black, to like children. It's, children, meet Mr. Black. You wouldn't say meet my friend Michael. You would say meet Mr. Black.
There's
And that
something more
feels-
formal.
It feels well. It's
What do you?
it's patriarchy, but it's like I think that it feels that way. Like Jared said, Don, can you just refer to me as Mr. Kushner? So he goes on.
They want very much to make a deal. We'd like to make a deal too. We're going to get together today by probably phone because it's very hard to find a country. It's very hard for them to get out, I guess.
It's like the specificity of the lie. It's like,
we get it.
I'm lying, and we're going to talk, and we're probably going to use a phone.
Right. It's like, we're going to drop the kid off at the McDonald's between our two homes when visitation happens.
That's right. And then call him on the phone.
Hold that thought while we're on break. Do yourself a favor, hit subscribe, hit join. You get all kinds of free benefits. It lowers your bad cholesterol and improves your good cholesterol. All you have to do is hit join. And we're back. What were you just saying?
We'll at some point very, very soon meet. We're doing a 5-day period. We'll see how that goes. And if it goes well, we're going to end up with settling this. Otherwise, we'll just keep bombing our little hearts out.
It's so disrespectful. Can you believe it?
No.
This is good.
No.
I'm sorry. I'm just bombing my hearts out.
Bomb our little hearts out.
Yeah.
Because
you ever been to an open mic? Oh boy, bombing their little hearts.
I like he literally becomes the little boy he is. We're just gonna bomb our little hearts out. That's how I get an erection. Here we go.
We both know you're not capable of getting an erection. Oh, you were cosplaying as Trump. We both know Trump is not capable of getting an erection. Neither Trump nor you.
No, neither of us.
What exactly are you looking for in these talks, Mr. President?
We're looking for all of the things that we've been talking about. We want to see no nuclear bomb, no nuclear weapon, not even close to it, low-key on the missiles.
Hey, ixnay on the Issels may.
Okay, so let's just okay. No nuclear weapons.
Yeah, which we already had an agreement for.
We had a pretty good agreement.
Pretty solid
with that,
agreement,
yeah. And no missiles.
We had that. That was in the agreement too.
Well, in June, we got rid of the place where they could make those things, right?
Well, we got rid of the place where they could make the nuclear.
Yeah, the first
They
point.
still have missile
They still have
capability.
missiles,
Yeah, but the first point, we got rid of that place in
obliterated.
June.
But we already had a deal.
We obliterated
But we
it.
already had a deal in place for that.
Well, yes. That
A
Trump,
limited
in his
amount of-
first term, pulled us out of.
Yeah.
Hey, but by the way, he's going to be walking in Memphis soon.
That's right.
He's on his way to Memphis.
Well, you're just full of musical references.
I listen.
Really
hey,
bad ones.
Side note, I put a transistor radio in our office ladies' room the other day, a week ago.
Why do you call it a transistor radio?
Because it's a
Is
little
it not?
transistor radio.
I don't think it is a transistor.
Well, how big is it?
It's the size of a deck of cards.
That sounds like a transistor radio.
It does.
Is that so that you can't hear each other pooping?
It's not modesty music. Somebody asked me that. But
What is it then?
It's just to change your mood up. Today I walked in and Indigo Girls were playing. And I've invited all the ladies. You can turn on any radio station you want to. And I would get one for the men's room, but I'm not allowed in there.
Nobody's checking your genitals at Have I Got News for You.
That's
Well, this
right.
isn't South Carolina.
No, yeah, this isn't.
Or the rest
This
of the
isn't
country.
Nancy Mace.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. We're going to get a fainting couch next week.
We want to see peace in the Middle East. We want the nuclear dust. We're going to want that. And I think we're going to get that. We've agreed to that. Yeah, we've agreed to that.
You want the enriched uranium before you can end this.
And we want no enrichment, but we also want the enriched uranium.
Okay.
So he says, I think we've agreed to it. No, you haven't spoken to anyone yet. So what are you talking about?
No,
you're lying.
No, he's agreed. He's fine with
He
all
goes
of these
on,
points.
but he
He's
goes
agreed
on.
with himself.
He goes on. And by the way, Trump speaks before.
He goes to Memphis.
There you go.
You said there's many points of agreement with Iran right now.
Many.
What, can you give us a
Many,
few of those?
like 15 points. 15
That
points.
Iran has said yes.
Well, they're not going to have a nuclear weapon. That's number one. That's number 1, 2, and 3. They will never have a nuclear weapon.
Said yes to that?
They've agreed to that.
There's still 12 more points, but 4 things could be the rest of the 12
These
based
are like
on
the
that
rules
map.
of cricket, by the way.
Okay. I've always wondered how to
As
play.
confusing. As definitely is confusing. With him, it's always like, okay, so what happened that he's now covering for? And a lot of people point to the stock market and oil prices and all these things, like he's going to try and boost it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he's that simple.
Doesn't it always come down to whether people like him or not? And
Yeah.
clearly people are not enjoying where we are
I don't even
with
think
this.
it's that. I think there's some other thing going on, which is they're not doing as well as they claim they are.
I think if I had to guess, first of all, I agree with Iran State TV.
Yeah.
That pausing it does allow them to get the Marines
Correct.
into
Which they are-
position,
we know
which
they're
they are
doing.
doing.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, they're gonna land those fucking Marines on that fucking island, Karg Island, and I don't know, I don't know what's gonna happen, but apparently nothing good. That seems
It's 2 by 3 miles.
and it's like
That's like Manhattan.
yeah, and it's
Manhattan
and it's
is 2
right
by 13,
by,
but
Oh, okay. I knew I didn't know.
it's right by the cliffs of the Strait of Hormuz, the high ground.
The cliffs of the Moors.
In Cliffs of Moher, I've been to those.
Do you have a song about
How
it
long
that
are
you want to
those?
reference?
How long are those? Just say miles.
Miles.
Good.
Do you want to sing Wuthering Heights by Kate Bush at this point? What do you want to
I would
do?
love to. Running up that hill.
So I do think it's a ploy. I agree with Iran. I also think he basically just bluffed and got caught.
Right.
And I don't know why he was so stupid to think that if he said by tweet, open up the strait or else,
Right.
that Iran would be like, okay.
Blow your house down.
Yeah.
Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Yeah, they didn't pay much attention to that matter.
No.
Well, they can't because they can't do any communications. How
That's
are they
right.
supposed
They
to
can't
get that?
get truth
Well, they can look on their phone. They don't have a phone.
Mm-hmm. We blew the hell out of that.
We blew their phones up. So
I do, but by the way, and I also think it is the stock market. I think probably somebody got in his ear and was like, "Please don't do this."
Yeah.
And he said, "All right, I'll give it a pause for a few minutes."
I want you to hold that thing in your head about someone talked to him because this next story, someone talked to him.
President Trump once again taking to Truth Social here. On Monday, ICE will be going to airports to help our wonderful TSA agents who have stayed on the job despite the fact that the radical left Democrats who are only focused on protecting hardline criminals who have entered our country illegally are endangering the USA by holding back the money that was long ago agreed to and signed and sealed, contracts and all. But watch, no matter how great a job ICE does, the lunatics leading the incompetent Dems will be highly critical of their work. They will do a fantastic job. The great Tom Homan is in charge.
Wow, that was a real roller coaster.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk to Tom. Let's hear what Tom Homan has to say.
Are ICE agents even remotely trained to handle security at airports?
Hey, boss. Who?
Hey, let the catcher's mitt talk.
ICE agents receive a high level of training. And, the ICE agents are assigned at many airports across the country already. They do a lot of criminal investigation on smuggling at airports. But, there's got TSA agents covering exits, people that enter through the exits.
What is this, a matinee movie?
Well, you've gone out of the airport, and there's always a guy, usually in his 70s, sitting at a desk, looking miserable.
I like entering through the exit. Is it what's the Banksy movie?
Exit through the gift shop.
Yeah.
But they always have their hat on backwards.
Who, the old guys?
The guys who are coming in through the exit.
Oh, that's to trick you.
It is.
Hey, pay no mind to me. I'm just
I'm walking
hopping along.
forward.
Bippity boppity boop.
See my hat? I'm walking forward.
Yeah, look
See
at
that?
this.
What? That is ridiculous.
It gets better.
Certainly a highly trained ICE law enforcement officer can cover an exit, makes people don't go through those exits. I don't see an ICE agent looking at an X-ray machine because they're not trained in that. There are certain parts of security that TSA is doing that we can move them off those jobs and put them in the specialized jobs, help move those lines.
So I'm going to say something that's probably not going to be very popular, but I'll say it anyway. We've all been to the airport.
I've been multiple times.
I think that's a very popular thing to say, Jim, and I wouldn't sell yourself short.
Okay, good. We've all been to the airport.
You know what, Jim?
What?
We have all been to the airport. Good job.
We go through security. We see the TSA agents, right? We see the kind of people they are.
Highly trained.
And then no disparaging to TSA people, whatever, it's a job. But apparently those people are more highly trained than the ICE agents who walk around with a shit ton of weapons on them and kill people randomly.
Well, he was specifically saying trained to look at the X-ray.
Machine.
Right. How hard could it be, again?
But what are we doing there anyway? I mean, we do not need ICE agents at airports.
That's not the point.
It's the point I'm making. Because if the TSA agents are currently supposed to be taking care of all the things, and they're doing it while they're not getting paid currently, and they're very
ICE
taxed.
is getting paid.
TSA, I'm talking about. And and so they're doing those jobs. Some might think ICE is going in and they're being paid, correct?
Yeah.
And they're doing jobs that TSA agents should be doing.
No, they're not.
But aren't they guarding this back door, Jim?
The back door?
They're guarding back doors.
That's not what TSA does.
They don't cover the back doors.
No, they don't have weapons on them or anything. They're just literally, they check your documents, they look at the X-ray machines, they don't do any of that stuff.
Very specifically, though, of this very specific task, they do sit at exits to make sure that you're not going in the wrong way.
But I don't know if that's TSA or
That's
just airport security in general.
I'm 99% sure that that's TSA, but that's a tiny job.
Right.
And I'm guessing even if ICE agents replace the TSA agents, and for the exits, that's not going to alleviate any of the congestion in any way, shape, or form.
Of course not. Let's go back in time and hear James Comer.
And I think it's terrible what's happening. I'm glad the president's put ICE in there for a multitude of reasons. That'll drive the Democrats crazy. But at the end of the day, somebody's got to step up and ensure that our air travel continues, or you're going to see even further damage to our economy, which, again, in my opinion, is what the Democrats want.
There's so many better ways to make Democrats crazy. Give me a bunch of avocados that aren't ripe. I'll go nuts.
In all the conversations we've seen so far about deploying ICE to TSA, nobody has been able to identify what they're going to be doing there aside from guarding the exit. Okay. There's probably like 3 of those in any terminal. There's going to be 1 or 2, 3 exits.
Also, Trump says he doesn't want them to wear masks,
they're not,
right?
And they're not.
And they're not.
Yeah.
And so already it's hugely problematic for these people who they've asked for their identities to be. And I'm not trying to say that.
Who's it problematic for?
The people, the ICE agents, which
That's
I
not
am not.
problematic. That's called just desserts.
Of course. I am not supporting their jobs at all.
Okay,
I think they're pieces of shit. But it's really funny.
Your husband Stoli is in ICE. Why would you say that?
Stoli, we're so sorry. If you're listening, Stoli, Michael and I think you're great for being in ICE.
The good news is Stoli can
He's in it for the right
have
reasons.
this cut out. But why?
For the right reasons.
He positioned them in the airports with no masks on, so they're like sitting ducks. There are.
Well, what do you mean sitting ducks? Nobody's doing anything.
They're just like they send every photographer.
But your argument is exactly their argument. They're sitting ducks by not having because all of a sudden, what's going to happen? Here's my question. Wait, cops don't have masks on.
No.
I know.
Why?
Of course not.
They're there to actually enforce the law.
Yes,
right.
of course.
Serve and protect.
So, and they get into a lot of dust-ups and scraps.
Yeah.
But you know
nuclear dust-ups or just the regular kind of dust?
No, not nuclear. No. Here we go. So here's Old Faithful.
Yep.
She asked, whose idea was it to deploy ICE?
Whose idea was it?
Mine. That was mine.
And can I ask you?
That was like the paperclip. You know the story of the paperclip? 182 years ago, a man discovered the paperclip. It was so simple. And everybody that looked at it say, why didn't I think of that? ICE was my idea.
And so was the paperclip. I invented both.
I looked it up. The paperclip was not invented.
But why did he think this was a good idea?
This is the question. First of all, it wasn't his idea.
No,
Nothing is his idea.
Tell the story.
Somebody
this is not a theory.
Somebody called in, I think, to Fox News, or a guest was on Fox News and suggested deploying ICE to TSA.
Yeah,
to the airport.
A caller.
Yeah, a caller.
For what?
Why
reason?
don't they use ICE to help with the airports? Why don't they do that?
Honestly, sometimes I can't find anybody to help me check out at Hudson News.
Right.
So if there is a little more support in that area, I'm for it.
So he went to Memphis, which was where he was on his way to from the tarmac. I think one of the things at Graceland is when a dignitary, I even hate using that word with him, when a dignitary comes to Graceland, I think you sign some guitar. Anyway, so he's signing the guitar and they're talking about how Elvis had a black belt or something in karate.
Oh, we know that to be true.
Karate.
Elvis had 2 eighth-degree black belts in karate. One was in Kenpo, and that's practice.
Could I have taken him in a fight?
I don't know. You might.
I think he would have been respectful enough to let you in.
Yes, he probably would.
But he and Bruce Lee really brought karate.
Yeah.
He would have been. But he and Bruce Lee really brought karate to the West.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's good.
Yep.
It's very good. Well, Bruce Lee was pretty good, right?
Yeah, Bruce Lee was pretty good.
Fist of Fury.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I have to say, that is the most human I feel like I've ever seen him.
I look at that and think, what a prick.
Well, he is a prick, but that was like a normal conversation.
You know why?
Does he smile?
Here's my theory.
Does he smile?
In memory centers for people who have dementia and Alzheimer's, they have wings that'll be nostalgic to the era in which they were teenagers.
Wait, what?
So it'll be like
your long-term memories are more easily accessible than your short-term memories.
So it'll be dedicated to it might have like a diner with like a jukebox with your favorite music, but they can recall and have like whole lives, like just regular conversations, and maybe you'll go to a barber shop and who's at Graceland. I feel like that's the music of his time period.
Well, I think he lives in the 1970s. Everything, his entire foreign policy, everything. It's like oil. Everything he's doing, it feels very 1970s. So I don't think it's Alzheimer's at all. But
no, but I think to your point, like he looks kind of normal. He seems a little cheery. The sides of his mouth are lifted. I think he's feeling warm and fuzzy inside, like, oh, Elvis movies. And
well,
I
Elvis,
agree.
The part that got him to smile was that Elvis would probably let him win because he's who he is.
Out of respect.
Out of respect.
Oh, you really
That's
think
when
so?
he smiled.
Yeah.
Do you think
But
we'll
like
Which,
asking.
by the way, what a prick.
But like asking, do you think I could take him in a fight, or do you think he could take me in a fight? Like an absurd thing to say.
Yeah, well, you're both fat and old, so I don't know.
But like there was sort of a twinkle in his eye that I feel like we almost never see. And I think we should just leave it there with so much mirth and merriment. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Jodi, as always. This has been Have I Got News for Your Ears? I'm Michael Ian Black, your host. My thanks to my co-pilots as always, and to all of you. We release new episodes every Wednesday, so check us out on Apple, Amazon Music, or wherever you get your podcasts. Even better, you can watch the VODCAST on Spotify, or best yet, on the Have I Got News for You YouTube channel. And if you hit subscribe and join, when you go to the Have I Got News for You YouTube channel, Jim will personally deliver you a lap dance. Have a great week, everybody. Hey, don't forget to subscribe to the HIGNFYE YouTube channel and be sure to click the bell to stay on top of all our great content. Even better, become a member for exclusive content, early access to videos, members-only shoutouts, and more. Click the join button below.